All right. So this week we're going to talk about, should people live together before, they get married? Hot topic. It is. Okay. Can go a lot of ways. Okay. So let me go ahead and start off with my whole take on that. So should people live together before they get married? I think that goes along with okay, and this, I'm gonna take this very randomly right now. Okay.
Here we go.
So I heard this from somebody a while back, right? And they said that before they get into an actual relationship with somebody, they have to test the equipment per se, to make sure if that's the relationship that they want to be in. Okay. I'm not sure if that goes the same way with living with somebody and everything like that. But
I just caught that.
I mean, you saying, okay? Like some people, that's how they make that. That's how they get that confirmation that, hey, this is right. Okay, like this is the right step for me to do. Okay, I don't want people to take living with somebody the same way. Okay, because just because that may be right, don't mean that you can live with a person and still be able to coexist. Because people have different habits. They have different morning routines. They have different nightly routines. They may have some things that really annoy you. Like they may have all these things. But and it also depends on how you look at it too. Because from certain religious standpoint, sometimes you just those religions you can't just live with somebody before you get married. But for me, I think that I think you should do what makes you feel comfortable in that whole situation. Like if you feel like you need to live with a person before you get married, okay. If you don't feel like that, then don't do it. Like that's just my take. But that's just one man's opinion. What do you guys think?
Well, it sure took you a long time to get to your answer.
Hey, I had a lot on my chest. Okay. Like sometimes I need to vent. Okay.
Like trying to what I'm saying? Like decipher how you gonna put it.
I had to make sure I give all the scenarios. Okay, like all of them. Okay, unless all the scenarios that was going through my head at the time. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It sounded good in my head. Hopefully, it sounded good. Like whenever I was getting it out there like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I understand. Unless it's religious issues, then you have respect your religion or whatever. But I kind of think we need to live with a person before you marry. I think it just depends on the person too, but yeah. At least you know what you get yourself into, instead of just jumping into it. Because, I do, agree with you when you said about people habits and everything. And one thing I think all they can agree on is that when you bring in two different people together from being single to getting together, there's a lot of things that you have to meet together as y'all come together in that one household.
Yeah. You truly not gonna know that until I guess you jump on in there and start sharing rent and light bills and who's gonna get the groceries one day.
The bathroom.
Yeah. Hey, I might blow up the bathroom. How you gonna act? Okay. How you gonna respond? Okay. Don't cut and run now. I mean,
run. I like that.
I'm just saying.
It's definitely something everybody will have to, both parties need to adjust to, for sure.
Okay, I just hit me, okay? I was gonna throw this video, okay? How you feel about those people that use the bathroom with the door open? You know what I'm saying? like they want you to be in the bathroom with them or something like that as they do their business.
But what if they they was already doing that before, like they got with the person or they moved in with the person. It's out of habit at that point, right?
Yeah.
Unfair rule. You should close the door when you go to bed. It's kind of like the
So if they was okay, so if they was like they stay alone, right? They just stay alone. They've been in the bathroom so over all these years, whatever, right? So then they decide to go in, and boom, they need the bathroom door open.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense that it would happen given the situation that you described. and personally, I wouldn't have a problem with it unless they're doing a specific act in the bathroom, in which I extremely feel like the door should be closed. But it's situational. I don't think that's like a deal breaker, unless it's a specific act in the bathroom that creates a strong smell. But I mean, outside of that, that's just common courtesy, right? At that point, hey, look, if someone else around you who may not respond the same way to your waste as you may, and we just want to have common courtesy. That's just, and if that's a problem in our relationship, that they respect that opinion of mine, then we got bigger issues. I think that should be like an easy one. Like, all right, just close it down.
Just close the door, huh?
Just close the
What if they got to go real bad, and then it's one of those things that they got the bubble guts, and then they ain't got time to close the door, like that. Like is there like a conversation after they get off the toilet? Like, is it like, okay,
why they close doors? Like the bubble guts in between the bubble guts, so they never be sitting on the toilet, so they can't close the door. Maybe the door gonna be too far. Maybe it's too far.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, do you throw something at the door to heat it? Just make sure it's closed. Or?
I can close it.
Okay.
That's strong.
That's teamwork.
I'll close
Teamwork.
it. I'm a team player. Mm-hmm. Hey, hey, you've got to close the door. You about to do that? I got you. I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you every time. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna miss. I miss it.
But that's part of it. Like when you live with someone, like you gotta expect all the variables, like all that. Like you do. Like it's so many variables with living with somebody. Like it is.
But can you tell about the way, like, will you honestly be able to live with whatever that variable is? Like, honestly, you really do. Because, women might think you can, but, you realize it might get on your nerves. It might really hurt you. Or it might be something new that has really got on your nerves. Mm-hmm. That you might not have experienced before.
Yeah.
So yeah, my opinion is it doesn't matter. It can happen either way. I think I would personally probably say that you don't have to live with the person before you marry them. I don't think that's something that has to happen. I think it could help, in knowing some of these things, but I think that's just part of the life journey that you take with someone, is learning who or some habits they may have and adjust it to them. But I don't think it's like, oh yeah, if I haven't lived with you, we can't get married. I can't say that I would. I think that's how it should be.
Yeah. So if you haven't lived with that person and all the variables start coming up, how do you address all the variables that you now have to deal with because you didn't have pre-knowledge of all these variables? How do you deal with that?
So, this is the thing. All right. If you're at the point when you're about to marry somebody.
Yeah.
There's been times where you spent at this person's house, okay?
Everybody on their best behavior.
You're not saying, you said all variables, like it's just a whole new world. like you said, all the variables. Like it's just a whole new world in there.
Hey, I'm just saying. What if you over at their house? Yeah, you staying the night, you staying 2 days, staying 3 days. Of course, they're closing the door. Yeah, but when you living with them, oh, we want the door open. Like we want to use the bathroom with the door open, then because that's who they really are. Like they was closing the door because they was trying to.
Okay, so after how long? Just in your experience, people are going to get to a point where they're not going to continue to fake it.
Yes.
Okay. So long.
Yes.
So long. They're going to get comfortable enough where some of those things they were doing to fake it or to hide it are going to stop happening because that takes extra effort.
Yes.
And they're going to start acting like their normal self. Mm-hmm. And then you can kind of see it. And you can see it before you done lived with them, which is a huge commitment. And it's hard to get out of that because now this is your home. This is your shelter. Right. I don't really take lightly personally. So I would probably not be looking to make that commitment prior to marriage. But you kind of see that stuff and you can kind of start to make determination for yourself on whether or not these are things that you feel. Yeah. That's my take on it. People are not going. If you rushing into a relationship, that's another thing. You gotta be patient. You gotta put time in to make a solid decision. But if you've given that time to the relationship and allow things to kind of transpire, you'll have a general idea on who you're dealing with. Yeah. Enough for you to be able to say, all right, I may want to move forward with living with this person or maybe not. That's my take.
I can give it.
Josh, fight.
I don't agree with nothing like that. I'm just looking at all the scenarios and spinning in my head as you were saying that, like all the different scenarios because sometimes, especially with marriage and stuff like that, people look at that new commitment differently. Like the moving in commitment, both parties may not take that the same way, and the transition to being fiance and stuff like that, they might not take it the same way. And then once you get married,
it's around.
That's what I'm saying. Like that person may not,
Some people take it so differently. Like in my experience, I have seen men. Like when you go from boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, whatever, but like when that marriage thing and y'all like actually married, like to me in my personal experience, men have been like, I ain't gonna say they cook script, but it's like, and it's totally different. And I'm not saying females don't do it either, but like they just. I don't even know if they call it a change, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a man, but they take it to a whole nother level. They take it a lot differently when it comes down to being married.
Yeah. But I mean,
it's another tier up for sure.
Yeah.
I also think there should be some conversation about it. It's like, hey, it's my wife, or hey, as my husband, we're taking this next step. What do you think about that? Or if we take this next step, what are your thoughts about that? Or how do you see this working? Or is there anything that you would like from me or expect from me that may not have already been made clear? It's just conversations about it. And I feel like a lot of couples had these conversations. They're all speculative, but they happen along the time span of the relationship, which I think helps minimize the uncertainty. And if someone just completely flips the script, then maybe there's a need to relook at who you're actually dealing with, because it shouldn't be a 360. It shouldn't be like, who are you? Like, oh, okay, you acting totally different. I don't know what's going on here. It should be like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, this is kind of what I'm expecting. This is what we talked about. Or, okay, this is a little different, but, it's not big enough for me to say, oh, red flag or let me get out of here type deal.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
My thing is, should there be a conversation before, like, either A, moving in or not wanting to do the whole moving in thing? Like, should that be a conversation that two people should have, like the pros and cons of that kind of stuff?
Absolutely.
That's big. That ain't small.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real big.
So in that conversation, what would you like lay out in that conversation? Like, okay, what are you gonna be like whatever you move? Like, what should be said in a conversation like that if the answer was, hey, we thinking about moving in together, or B, we thinking about not wanting to do that and the reasons why we don't want to do that? Like, how would you like structure a conversation like that?
Well, I mean, you structure it in like because you structure it because y'all are close, right?
Yeah.
You need to structure the conversation as such. Moving in, like, is that a good thing for the both of us? How is it gonna work out? Who's gonna pay what? What are our schedules gonna look like at that time, that moment? Because I've seen a situation where a good friend of mine, her guy moved in, and he didn't like her schedule. So he was like, I think you need to change your schedule because I want you home, blase boom. And she felt the same way. So, it just depends. But those are the conversations. Like, you have to let them know, would that work for you? If that not, then it might not work for you for y'all to move in together. And he expects you to be home at a certain time, and he don't want to work in a certain schedule, then moving in might not work for you.
And I think also, like, an even easier way is to just say, hey, currently, how do you run your household?
Yeah.
That's a general question. They don't feel attacked. They just, hey, we are looking at considering living together in the future. Right now, I know you're there by yourself. How do you run your household right now? What does that look like for you? They tell you. If you got any questions, you can ask further questions. But when they describe kind of, oh yeah, I do laundry once a month. I do my dishes. At the end of the week, I let them sit in the sink. Like, people are going to tell you how they live, or they're like, oh, I can't go to sleep without doing my dishes. I can't leave a dirty kitchen. Like, you're going to start to, people are going, if those are really ways that they live, they're going to tell you. And they probably also want you to know, because they will expect at least that from you. And they want to make sure that you understand that when they tell you how they're living, because they're trying to give you information as well.
Yeah. I'm curious about the stuff that people omit.
Like?
Because, like, people omit certain things when they talk to people sometimes, like omit. So when we talk about, and this is an example, right? So when you say, how do you run your household right now? And they give you, I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that. Most people don't get any further. It's almost surface level type stuff. So if you talk about how they paying their bills and stuff like that, they may not bring up the fact that they might be, sending their mom money or something like that, or they might have to pay for outside expenses, XYZ or stuff like that. Some people may not even include that in the conversation, like at all. So you get into that conversation, get into that place with them, and then they bring it up at that point. Like, oh, okay, I gotta do this once a month, or I gotta do XYZ once a month. And that's a variable that most people don't always see, because when things are like, to me, I think when things are personal, like really personal, like if you have some really, really, really personal things that you deal with for yourself before you even move in with somebody, that's sometimes the stuff that people don't always talk about. Like that stuff right there, like that's the stuff that you gotta drag out of people sometimes before they even bring anything like that up. So,
well, I think throughout the dating process, it comes up something to me. Like, yeah. I would think throughout a dating, like, we just in a general conversation, and they might be like, Dad, my mom, I had to go ahead and give my mom her $1,200 this month that I usually, it just out of a general conversation, because sometimes things just slip, you know, without even them realizing it's like they really talking about it, especially y'all get very personal with one another. You know what I'm saying? And that's just speaking from my experience, when I had to deal with that. Stuff was omitted, and then all of a sudden they said some stuff, and I was like, oh, man, you know, you have to address it. You know, you need to address it, you know, but you have to be careful how you address it as well. Because people can get very offended, you know, like, oh, so you see them on $400, and, you know, so you have to know, like, how to put these conversations, you know, where it won't be offensive, or it won't be like, you trying to tell them not to do it, or you don't, even if you don't agree with it, or whatever the situation is. But you know, and to me, sometimes you just have to know what battle to pick, because is it interfering with it? Is it interfering with y'all paying y'all bills together? You know, like, is it interfering with the finance? Because if it's interfering with it, that's a whole other conversation. But if it's not, and they still handling their business, and they still doing it as y'all agree, then what, I mean, then that really, to me, you shouldn't be trying to fight that battle.
Yep, that's exactly what I was gonna say. If it don't affect anything, they're living by themselves, so they're obviously surviving with whatever habits that they have. And I think if it doesn't take away from you guys' ability to live, yeah, it's not to say it's irrelevant, but it might not be, like Aphrodite stated, the battle to fight. And I also think you can ask somebody, even when you ask them how do you run your household, you can ask them if there are any like struggle areas that they're having, or any, you know, bad habits they might have that they know they want to work on. You know, you can have a real candid conversation, you know, because this is not small. You know, you're considering committing your life to this person in that you guys share the same house and shelter. So hopefully they can be honest and say, yeah, you know, I struggle with X, Y, and Z, or, you know, sometimes I spend too much and I get really tight on rent, you know, and if they don't, then, you know, that will be a bigger conversation down the line, but at least you're giving them opportunity to kind of be honest, you know, is there any struggle areas? But yeah, I agree with Aphrodite about, you know, that it might not be worth the battle if they can still sustain themselves.
Yeah. So my thing is, like, how much of that person should you know? Like, how well should you know that person before you move in with them? Like, is there like a particular, like, do you gotta know them like well as you know you? Like,
take all this everything how we get to know them real well.
Do you gotta know that? You gotta know their credit score?
Yes. Yes.
You gotta know they blood type, you know, you gotta, like, I'm just saying, like,
very transparency. You would be amazed at what I did before I chose that. It's like, in my relationship, it got married to my husband. Like, I ran all kinds of shit on him. I did, no lie. And I told him.
okay.
Yeah, I got my police friend. I was like, I need to run a police report on him. Please, this is. I'm just saying.
Hey, that's some.
I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
That's some real, you know, employment opportunity type stuff right there. Okay, it's like, it is. Like, we want to know everything about you. Like,
you don't know. People have so many things.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody do it on, do it on me. You know what I'm saying? But people have so many things, and this, like, I'm not. Things have changed, and they just try to hide things to the goodness or whatever. But you do need to know when you get it. It's not that I didn't trust him or what he told me or whatever. But I just need to know for myself. Like, I'm saying I'm listening to him. But by that time, I had already got everything I needed to do what I needed to do. Like, we discussed credit scores, we discussed if we were behind on bills, we discussed all that.
Okay. So what if
that's a whole nother level.
I'm just trying to figure out what information is off the table before you move in with somebody. Like what don't you have to know before you move in with somebody? Is there anything that you don't have to know before you move in with somebody?
For me, to move in with someone, marriage is there. So to answer your question, I'm answering it in the mindset of, okay, we're married now, which means nothing is off the table. Okay. If we're both about to uproot our lives and combine them in one household, which means we have to combine everything else about ourselves, everything about our entire lives, we need to know everything about each other. You know, whatever is realistic that we can talk about. Of course, there will be some things that we'll find out more as time goes on, but we need to know as much as we can about each other before we take that step, because that's a huge step. You know, you're combining, you're getting rid of furniture, you're, you know, closing off utilities in one person's name in order to, you know, get them in somebody else's name, or you're trying to transfer all of this and that, or it's a lot that goes on. And so I'm a firm believer that you need to do your due diligence and do it very thoroughly before, or when you're in that process or that phase of living together or moving in with the person, in my opinion, that you're married to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, yeah.
What, you had more there? It was something else?
Yeah, but I lost the thought.
Okay, go ahead. That's fine.
If I remember it, I'll bring it back up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it does matter if you're married or not.
Yeah.
That determines what information you would need to know. Because to me, it's a difference based on the title or the commitment level of the relationship.
Well, that's a huge commitment. You come to move in with each other. That's a huge commitment.
Right.
If we not even talk about each other, which means that is gonna matter what we no, because even when we move in together, I need to know what we moving into.
Yeah, it's a commitment.
But that, even if you're not, you know, on energy level of we already married, but if you just moving in together, that's a huge commitment. So you do need to know what you're moving into.
Yeah.
But what do you need to know?
Everything is just take it.
Okay, so what? So, okay, all right, I'm just asking. Okay.
So, like, you know, I was just saying, man, so you decide that you gonna move in with y'all, you over there gonna move in together. G realized, you know, she had this little conversation about dude had a little pass and he been popping up at the house and you didn't even know nothing about it, but he started popping up and you think you're crazy. No, you need to know. You don't want to be in the midst of that. Yeah,
I agree. I think there's certain things you don't need to know.
Like what?
That's a good question. I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
What don't you need to know?
You definitely don't need to know their credit score. Okay. I don't think you need to know that.
When you're about to share finances and y'all are under one roof, and if they're not good with money, that could possibly affect you being evicted or anything like, you know, like that can affect the utilities being turned off if they're not good with money.
So we're talking about if they're good with money now. We're not talking about their credit score.
But a bad credit score can also dictate if they're good with money or not. But I do understand what you're saying. Even a person with a low credit score or whatever can still be good with money. But, you know, for purposes of this conversation.
Right. I think sometimes we look too deeply into it. Not to say that what y'all saying isn't valid.
No, I understand.
Yeah. I'm just saying it may not be as critical as we're making it based on the nature of the situation surrounding those people living together, right? Because if we're married, I'm on board 100% with what y'all are saying, okay? But if we're trying to cut costs, this is my friend, you know, we might got a little something going on, but we really just trying to cut costs, you know. I want to know.
Living situation.
Roommates.
It could be a roommate, yeah.
Roommates.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, roommate. Oh, that's different.
You're living together.
No, it's roommates.
Where do we go with this?
Like roommates that sleep together.
They beneficial roommates.
So do roommates live together?
When did we start talking about roommates?
That's what he's describing.
Hey, I'm
He
thinking
said my friend.
Have you
y'all
ever
are
seen?
thinking like
He said my friend.
y'all are thinking marriage only, like, and I'm not against that.
No.
We're not.
No.
We're not.
So roommate is someone that you live with.
I'm trying to figure out. Have you ever seen that show Three's Company?
I think that was black and white.
No, it wasn't black and white. It wasn't black and white. But it was a sitcom about a guy and two women living together. Right? Which this conversation somehow went in a whole bunch of different directions, but we were talking about a guy and a woman living together with a path. There's a path there. There's something happening with both of these people.
Intimate.
Yeah, instead of,
A friend.
we just trying to save some money. Let's just live together type stuff.
I guess earlier in the game, if y'all aren't at the marriage level, y'all are friends. Or you girlfriend. I mean, it's still a friend. I mean, it's girlfriend, boyfriend. We're not married. There's no fiance. We're friends.
Okay.
So let's call it girlfriend then. Let's call it girlfriend and boyfriend. Okay. If that works better. So we're girlfriend and boyfriend. I don't need to know her credit score. I need to know the quality of life that she lives. How does she make her money? And if there's any criminal or violent background or current issues that I need to be aware of.
So I have a question. Why is it that so many people put so much weight on knowing a person's credit score, but yet knowing their whole past is okay to know? Why is there such a difference there? And to know their quality of life and how well they are with money and this and that, but yet not knowing this one number, but yet you're knowing how they do everything else. It doesn't make sense to me whenever people put so much weight and preserve this number of needing to know or not needing to know a person's credit score, but yet they need to know everything else about a person. What's the big deal about knowing a credit score versus I need to know your background, I need to know what you've been into, what you haven't been into. Add the credit score in there, in my opinion.
You can add the credit score in there. I just don't think it's necessary. You can add it in there.
I mean, it's relevant information is what you deem as important. What you want to know. What you deem as important. So if you one of those individuals that want to know the credit score, then that will be on the top of your list to add. That right there. But if you one of those other people that just don't want to know, that's number 10 on your list instead of being number 2 on your list. You don't want to, that's something that's not important.
I will say that I'm saying this as a man, right? So for me, house probably gonna be in my name. I've got the credit. I'm paying the bills, or I'm gonna be the owner, and then she can maybe help. But from that standpoint, her credit score doesn't really matter as much. I just need to know that you have some source of income and you're not gonna be a burden, and you're not dealing with any type of people or behaviors that's gonna be a detriment to this household. That's it. Okay, I'm not depending on her. See, it's different. I could live by myself. We are living together, in efforts to make a potential move onward, but I'm not depending on you at this point. So from that standpoint, that's why I don't think the credit score is all as much important. But I do think she should have a way to sustain herself. And I do also want to be sure that she's not going to endanger my household or bring any type of negativity to the place where I sleep. That's my take.
Can I ask a question? You said that you would want your name on the house. Totally understand. I agree. Would you be open to her name also being on it as well?
I don't know the specifics behind sharing the names on the I guess the house. I'm not sure what levels of authority that gives her specifically?
Ooh,
Depends.
Jesus.
Depends.
I mean,
I got the answer.
Like, we're not married. Like, we're not talking about. If we're talking about married, that's different.
I get that.
We're not married, so I'm not relinquishing anything beyond half to anyone. It's not happening. Zero.
No, I get that. It just depends on time frames and how long you've been with a person too.
Yeah. I'm not saying,
because in some common law state, it can get a little tricky.
yeah.
It can, especially with two individuals living with each other for a extended period of time. Yeah, like.
So I guess we're assuming some things here that may not have been explicitly stated.
Yeah, no, it's not assuming. We're bringing up a lot of different angles to the same question.
Right? Yeah. So
go ahead.
If it was your wife, would you be okay with her name being on the house?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because I completely understand, like, you're just living with a girlfriend and she moves in with you. You're not about to go through the whole process of saying, hey, let me put your name in the house. No, I totally get that.
Right.
And that was where you were answering from. So I get it.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm thinking, like, some of these things that are deemed need to know may not be so much, depending on the status of the relationship. Yeah.
I'm just not sure how many people would consider moving in with someone if the relationship didn't have a trajectory, like an actual path. Like, I'm not sure how many people would be like, okay, this is my girlfriend, let's just move in together. But there's not a future with this particular person. Like, you don't see a future with it. Like, you don't see anything further than what you're currently doing.
I think there's a lot of people that stick in the girlfriend phase for a long time.
I mean, that's fine. And there are people that do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But how many of those individuals versus how many people that actually do that, but they see a future beyond just girlfriend, boyfriend? Like, they see fiance, they see like married, like they see a future with that person,
It's a lot of people. For a lot of those who do move in without getting married, who move in first, a lot of those people move in with that expectation of marriage not even being on the table, because that's not what they want. Whether it be one or both people, someone doesn't want that, and they would prefer to just have that we are partners, what they call it, life partners type of thing. And so even no matter how long they may live together, they may be totally satisfied with just girlfriend, boyfriend, with that status or being at that level without marriage ever being a part of the equation. And both men and women are totally fine with that. I hear it in conversations a lot where, no, I don't desire to get married, but this is the person that I love and I'm going to spend the rest of my life with.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's really not. It's just like, whenever you do decide to make that particular choice, there has to be some level of reassurance. Like, there has to be some level of, okay, this is the person for the long haul. Because, that next step is a big step. Living with somebody, sharing bills, sharing money, sharing all these things. It can't just be with any old body. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just be with anybody.
A lot of people do. Emmanuel actually brought that example up earlier. I think this is what you were saying, Emmanuel. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there are some people, boyfriend, girlfriend, who will move in together to just save money.
Right.
You were saying that earlier.
There's a lot of benefits to living together that don't have anything to do with a long-term relationship.
I get that, but that's like going to Vegas and putting all your money on black and then hoping that you win. You know what I'm saying? Because eventually, if it's just that type of relationship, where's the stability in that, right? Like, because what happens if one person gets mad and they be like, you know what, I don't want to pay anymore. Let me just leave or
and
something like that.
Yep, that happens. And it leaves the one person with all the bills stuck on themselves, and then they're frantic trying to figure out how are they going to afford all of this now with their one income.
Yeah.
This is the one person who should have already been able to live by themselves. So, like, we gotta look at this as, oh, I'm now saving money by living with this person. This is saving me money. This is making life easier. And this is not, oh, I need them to survive. If they move out the next day, they cheat, you kick them out, it happens. Like, it is not, oh yeah, we live together, we gotta get married now. Like, why would we not live together if we're not getting married? It's, hey, I like you right now. I'm really feeling you, you know? I like your company. We always together anyway. Let's just get a place together. We can save money. You be cooking. I like your cooking. You know, like it could be other areas of value that exist in the current, in the now, where it's like, this is a good decision for us. And it happens. And it doesn't have anything to do with the marriage path. It's about right now. We're happy together. We spend all of our time together. We can save money. I want you here with me. Let's get this spot. That's normal.
Conversations like this, they get me excited.
I'm just saying, that's normal, bro. That's normal.
It is. I like this conversation. It's funny.
Normal.
It is.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You know, we doing it and we liking each other, we enjoying each other's company. And I don't know if is the person renting or are they actually buying their home?
Well, it could vary.
Okay.
It could
So,
vary.
hypothetically speaking, if you was renting a home or an apartment or whatever, and she comes in, so you would put her name on the lease?
No. If she wanted her name on the lease, we could talk about that. But I'm not just like, oh yeah, let me put your name on the lease. No. This is my space. She's coming into my space. So
I don't like that.
see, like
That's
this.
why I'm trying to get myself together. That's why I had to ask that question. Because it feels cringy to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling like, oh no. But everybody has their own opinion.
Yeah.
You know, and their own rights on how they want to run it.
Yeah, this is me speaking as the man. Like I said, if she want her name on the lease, then we're gonna have to talk about some real responsibility, some real stuff she gonna be doing to make that so. Because you don't just get your name on a lease unless you got a certain level of hold on the thing. Like, you gotta have a hold on. Yeah, drink the tea, sip the tea, whatever we gotta do, but we're not just putting nobody's name on the lease, okay? Okay, we not. You're not just walking in my house and getting your name on the lease. No, that's not happening, okay? So now if I'm coming in your house, I'm not at the same point. I'm not gonna try to put my name on your lease. I'm coming into your house. So I don't know, like it's one
Hey,
time.
get that name on the lease. I don't believe that foolery.
I'm just
Try to put you out, honey. And then you come out with, you gotta leave now, but my name is on this too.
Exactly.
When the lease is up, then we leaving.
Right. If I'm coming to your house, then this is your house. I'm not gonna try and put my name on your lease. I just don't. I don't think that's what should be happening.
Okay.
Unless I am now playing the role of the primary owner of this place. I think there's a role that comes with having ownership or having your name on a lease. There's a certain responsibility that comes with that.
Energy?
Yeah. Now, keep in mind, this is not my approach. This is what I know to be the case. Now, I'm not going to be in that situation myself. But if I was, this is how I would approach it. And her name's not going on the lease. She's living with me. You know, she's living with me. This is my place. Okay. So that's kind of how that works. But ideally, you know, it would be a marriage case where we share it. But without that commitment piece there, then I look at it as like she's joining me. Not we are owners of the house. Like, we are not owners of the house. You're joining me.
I mean, my question is, are they owners of any bill? Like they like
Depends. I mean, I would like her to add value. You're not gonna live with me and not add value.
But she can't be added to the lease. But she gonna be added to the bill.
I'm taking this list way too lightly. Y'all taking this list way too lightly. This list ain't no junk. This list is ownership. This is ownership. This ain't, oh, you cooked last night. This is, you are a owner. You are owning this. No, you're gonna do a lot more than cook dinner and wash dishes. Okay, you're gonna have to do a lot more than that. I'm just saying, if anybody on the lease, name on the lease, and they ain't contributing financially and doing a lot more than just cooking and cleaning, something wrong.
So when they moving in, they doing a lot more than cooking and cleaning, correct?
I would hope so. They're not moving in with me. They're not moving in with me for free.
Okay. So,
I'm not nobody's daddy.
Okay. So, but they can't be on the lease.
Well, like I said, it depends on what they do. What are they doing? Now,
what else would they be doing? They cooking, cleaning, and contributing financially, and whatever else y'all got going on. What else is they supposed to be doing? Y'all being beneficial. So what else we doing?
And that's why I need to understand exactly, because I've never had nobody live with me, so I don't know what sharing the lease looks like. Is there certain levels of sharing? Is it straight half and half? Like, what's the level of that? But I will tell you
that makes some sense right there. Okay, that's starting to make sense now.
Yeah,
okay?
Nobody, but I'll tell you right now, like, unless we married, your name not on the lease.
Hey, that's your if you've never done that before, all right? Like if you've never lived with someone before, or in an apartment situation, even a house situation, that would be like their approach. Like I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the approach that you're utilizing. It's just that the person that you choose to bring along with you has to be okay with that too.
Exactly.
Right? They're gonna be okay with that too. And as long as they're okay and everybody's on the same page, and I mean that works. Like that's just your thing. But the question was initially, right? I know we done went all over. So the question was initially, how much do you really need to know about a person before you make that decision? Right? And it's varied answers to that question, right? It's varied answers. Like everybody has their own idea of what they want to know. Like, what do you need to know to feel comfortable in saying that, hey, I want to 100% move in with you. Like, I want to 100% share all these things with you. So I think it just comes down to like whatever list of questions as an individual you need to ask to feel comfortable. Like, feel comfortable with making that next step. And it's different. It's just different for everybody. I think it is.
It is.
Unfortunately, it is. But man, here's the thing. Like you talking about, huh?
I think gender plays a role for real.
Yeah, but for
gender
me,
plays a role in what?
And the way people feel about living under certain circumstances. Like I feel like this, like it plays a role in a way.
How?
Well, if you think about it, like we talked about the woman's name on the lease, right?
Yeah.
If I was moving with a woman, I wouldn't even care to ask that. Why is that important? I don't need you. I'm living with you because I enjoy you. I don't need you. So if you kick me out tomorrow, I'm getting my own place. I'm good, right? So, but maybe there's a certain level of, I don't want to be vulnerable to that level, to that degree. And maybe that is why that's something that's a big deal, a big topic amongst, well, Josh, you haven't voiced your opinion, but it seems like Aphrodite and Nrgy are like not on board with my thought process on that, right? So this is me thinking
hey, I'm giving you your rope, your lane, okay? So this is what I'm doing, okay? I'm not
Hey, look, you get my rope. Wait, look at it.
I'm not going to even jump on that one, okay? Because I'm like, okay.
See, like for me, like personally, like I'm not relying on that. Like, yeah, that's where I'm living at, but at the end of the day, if I know it's not working, I'm gonna get my own spot. Yeah. My name on the lease, I don't even want my name on the lease. Like, unless we literally trying to like do something. Like we trying to push for something bigger. Yeah. But to me, that's not a big deal if I'm moving in with someone else because I'm not dependent on it. So I'm saying that might be gender based because maybe as the woman, they don't want to be vulnerable to having to live by themselves. I don't know. And I could be wrong, but I think it's a vulnerability with not having your name on a lease. And maybe that vulnerability is something that brings uncomfort.
I think it's bigger than that, to be fair.
It is.
That's a bigger conversation. It is. Because I don't think it's much more about the lease, but how you view the situation, the relationship, whatever that is. Like, it's more about that than it is about something tangible, like the lease thing or the bill thing or anything like that. It's more about the person, like the actual individual. To me, that's how I'm looking at it. Like, I'm looking at it as more about the individual that you're choosing to share that space. Like how you view them, how you value them.
Like a status.
Not really. It's not really a status thing.
If your name on a lease, you know your status is up. You know you got certain status.
No, I mean it's value. I didn't say status.
Value is aligned with status. A higher status means higher value.
How you're viewing that. That's not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying. Okay. Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. Because like I said, the way that you might sometimes phrase that, depending on who you bring into that situation, that person has a place and a position in your life. That's kind of the way that I'm hearing you describing it. So it's like, if that person knows that they have a place or a position in your life, in that space or whatever, it's kind of hard for them to find their own particular way in something like that. Like it is. It's like, what do you do with that, right? Like if you know that you only going to get a certain amount of either freedom or leeway in a situation like that. Like it's all, to me, I just think it's all about how you view that person. It's a person thing. But you're viewing it as,
I think we put too much emphasis on the lease thing. If it's not about,
because that's all I was hearing. Like all I was hearing was the lease thing.
If it's not about well-being or like insurance that you have a home, then it's being overemphasized. In my opinion. I mean, I thought it was about, I don't want to be kicked out on the street. But it's about, I'm not worthy. It's about, I'm not good enough. Which now I don't agree with that at all. That just made me hate the idea of it even more. Because it's superficial now. It's like you're not comfortable with your relationship. So now you're not even comfortable because you don't get your name on the list. Like, that don't make no sense to me. That's superficial. It's superficial. It's like you're not even worried about your life, your livelihood. You worried about, he didn't put me on the list, so I must be a little side piece. I must not be important in his life.
I love this conversation. It's so funny. Oh man.
That just hurt my soul.
I don't know why it hurt your soul. Like you put too much emphasis your opinion.
On status.
And again, you the one going with status, man. It's not about
that's what it is.
Okay, because you use a specific word that point to status, position, where a person stands in a particular situation. Like everybody, okay, and that's what I was saying. Whatever you choose to do to make yourself comfortable before you move in with somebody, that's okay. I'm not saying that your approach and the way that you want to do it is wrong, okay? I'm not saying that at all. If that works for you, do it. Like there's nothing wrong with that. As long as it not only works for you, it works for the other person too. That's all it is. Like I just think it's interesting to hear just another point of view. Like that's what it was. Your point of view was just a different take on it.
Yeah,
that's all it was.
I'm glad I heard your point of view because that has brought me into a place of understanding as well. Yeah. So I'm happy we're here. This is what added perspective is about, man. I love it. It is.
Okay? If this is a good time right out here. Good time right here. Okay? Oh man. Oh wow. After that, you get all your questions answered. I know. You was coming hot and fast.
I know.
Right.
Then you have one more?
Nrgy, you got it, man. You got it, because like I need for Nrgy to take it over. I'm gonna stay in my lane.
So what are we laying? Like, did we land somewhere? Like, did we?
Well, we just don't land and agree to disagree and add our perspective.
We landed somewhere.
We somewhere in the perspective.
Yeah, we landed. I think we agree that, before you consider living with someone, it should
Please talk to them in the name of Jesus.
Yeah, before you consider living with someone, it should definitely be with the focus of, building something longer. And you guys should be clear on that.
Mm-hmm.
You also need to know
if you want to be on the lease.
You need to know, depending on your preferences, you need to know if you need to be on a lease. You need to know who this person is. You need to know most, if not everything, about them, because this is someone that you're joining your life with, essentially. I think that's a good landing platform. Nrgy can bring it home.
I think you did an awesome job, Emmanuel. One thing that I'll say is, man, like, just understand that you only have one life to live. And if you are going to take whatever you do on a daily basis, everything that is in your home, outside your home, whatever the case may be, your ins and outs, your routines, no matter what, if you're trying to combine that with someone else, then give each other the respect of learning as much as you can about each other without leaving anything off the table. No matter if you're married or not, just give each other that respect, because again, you only have the one life to live. And especially if you're talking about living together under one roof. For me, my home is the only place on this earth that I can go to and have ultimate peace and sanctuary and safety. This is where I lay my head down on my pillow every single night. So if I'm combining that space with someone, whether or not we get a new place together, they move in with me, I move in, I don't care what the actual situation or combination is, I'm going to get to know everything about that person as realistically as I possibly can, because the home is the only place that you have that is yours and is your safe space to get away from everything else and everyone else outside of here. So take that to heart and do not take it lightly. That is just my opinion. I am Coach Nrgy. These are my thoughts, and I am done speaking.
Not much place I can go from there. I tell you, it's not. Top for the stars. Home run. It was good. Okay, it was good.
Silly. Come on, land it. Come on.
I know. So another great episode of Adding Perspective with Josh and Josh.
I'm Coach Nrgy.
I'm Aphrodite.
Emmanuel.
Get on the lease.